Hello, everyone. Welcome to chapter 268 on my RLDR Custom Creations YouTube channel. It is the weekend edition. And in this chapter, we're going to solve some common clamp problems. So if you want to see how that's going to go, all you need to do is stay tuned. Well, yes, we're going to talk about clamps today. More specifically, this type of adjustable bar clamp. Now, again, woodworking can take so many different paths. If you're traveling the economy journey, this is probably a good video for you to watch. If you follow the philosophy that a good friend of mine says, the way he said it is buy once, cry once. And that means you buy the best you can and you cry about the cost once, but then you move on. And that's definitely a good way of doing things. There's nothing wrong with that. However, with the economics that work in this shop, to have this many clamps, which you wouldn't believe it that I need it, but I do, to have this many clamps and to buy the high-end top brands would have cost me a fortune. And I have other things I need to buy. So I decided to go the cheaper route. So yeah, this is a grip clamp. I'm not even sure where they're made. Well, they're made in China. The Grip company, I think, is an American company. But I have a bunch of these because, again, they were at my favorite retailer and they were cheap. But I really like pipe clamps. And I have quite a few 2-foot pipe clamps, some 3/4 bar, some 1/2-inch bar, which really what I should do is sell those there. And galvanized pipe I find doesn't work as well. It's got to be black pipe. And but there are times when every 2-foot pipe clamp I have is being used, because if I have 5 students all doing a glue up in here at the same time, which happens, we need all the clamps. And the longer ones I've used in various cases. I think I bought 4 of each, like the 6-foot and the 4-foot. But I have lots of different clamps, and I tend to have a weakness for things on sale. So I have a 2-foot version of this clamp and a 36-inch version of this clamp. Now, I don't use these 36s very much, but they're handy sometimes, and I find my students like to be able to do that grip. Now, we don't usually use these clamps for laminating, say, small tabletops and stuff like that together, but there are times when we do because we've run out of pipe clamps. So I guess my philosophy of clamping is the same as my philosophy of sharpening. The glue joint that you're making doesn't know how much you paid for the clamp. It doesn't care. It needs to be done properly. And that's a technique thing. It's not a clamp thing. Now, a good clamp can make it easier, definitely. But as far as quality goes, I don't know. I'm quite skeptical on that philosophy. But anyway, and it's funny how this works. I had a good video in my head middle of last week that I was having trouble with some of these clamps, and my shop is a complete disaster. Thank goodness that the camera doesn't catch all of it, because it's terrible. But I had stacks of clamps that worked and ones that didn't work, like this. And I fixed a couple of them, just kind of took it apart and looked at it and figured out what was wrong and fixed it. Not a big deal. So I thought, well, that's an easy video to do. It's short and sweet, easy to do. And then I did research. I should never have done the research, but there's all kinds of video out there about fixing different issues with these clamps. So I thought today, what I would do is open one up and show you some of the common problems that these clamps have and solutions that we can come up with together to solve them. Because I've watched a couple videos, but I've also figured out some different ways of solving some of the problems that I think will work really well, but I don't have the supplies to do it. So I need to make a Temu order and get those supplies, but I don't have them for today. So I thought what I'd do, like I said, open one of these up, show you what's on the inside. Maybe you've never opened one up before, and tell you about some of the common issues that I've faced with these or that I've seen others face, and show you a way to fix the one problem that this clamp has. So anyway, with that in mind, let's move over to the bench and get started. Well, before we tear into a clamp here, I thought I'd show you what exactly my particular issue has been with these grip clamps. And that being said, there's so many clamps that are like this, marketed under different brand names, but they're essentially the same clamp. What should not happen is this. It shouldn't slide back and forth like that. Now, the only way it should slide back, like open, is when you press this button here. Can you see that? This green button on this clamp. But this one isn't gripping. I think I know what's wrong with it, but let's show you a clamp that's working properly. For example, this one, and I've been using it in the drywall actually. Okay, see, I have to press the button to get it. I'm pushing, got to press the button to get this to slide back. And then a little bit of glue on the clamp doesn't hurt either. But yeah, this one's working. It's advancing, and it's clamping. So the lever gets tight and the clamp stays. I also have a couple of these clamps that you press and it's tight, but as soon as you let go of this, you can see it release just a little bit. Now, it might still have enough clamping pressure to work. I'm not sure, but it's not the way it's supposed to work. So these, it's very positive when they're tight. Okay, so this one's working. It's been abused, but it's working. Let's set that on the working pile. And in order to get this one open, I'm going to have to take these screws out, and I'm going to move you in a little closer for that. So hang on, and I'll move you in, and we'll keep going. All right, well, let's get into that. There's 5 self-tapping screws on the case here that we're going to take apart. I could probably have snuck off and got my cordless impact and a bit that would have gone a little faster, but this isn't too bad. It's almost like I've done this before. So, and sometimes these screws kind of strip out too. I've noticed that on a few of them, and when it becomes a problem, I think maybe what I'll do is put maybe some glue in there or something, and I'm just going to make sure this one comes out if I can. Well, we'll leave it. I know where it is. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about that pivot point, and that sometimes breaks. And I mentioned the whole idea of Chicago screws. And if a person would drill a hole, like take this out, like just cut it off, and then drill through from this side and put the case on and then put a Chicago screw in there, you could make this point again and it would be perfectly seamless. There's some people that put a screw in from one side. I think that would work good as well, but I think the Chicago screw is cooler. Anyway, the handle, that's another place where you could use one of those Chicago screws. If the pivot breaks, and I have one clamp, and unfortunately the handle broke and it got lost. I think I must have accidentally thrown it out, but so that clamp's going to be parts, I guess. But you could drill through here, and again, you'd have a nice smooth surface on each side. If you're not sure what a Chicago screw is, I'll show you a little clip a little later, okay? So let's take this handle out so that it doesn't get in the way. The other thing you need to do you need to slide this off. And the way to do that is just to take a punch, and there's a roll pin here that needs to come out. So I'm just going to hold this, and yes, I know this is the wrong hammer, but it's going to work. And I think it's less to push out if I flip it on the other side. Well, it's about the same. There we go. Now, did I lose my roll pin? Hopefully not. I heard it scoot over here somewhere. Well, I'll maybe have to find that later and put it in off camera or something because I'm not sure where it went. But anyway, that happens, so make sure you take good care of your parts. Now this should just slide out, and see this one's sliding, and it should only slide when it's kind of 50-50, half and half here. So we're going to slide that off, and the spring looks in good shape here. This spring looks good. Everything looks good. What I've found the problem with some of these is, and here I'm just going to take one of these metal tabs out, and see all that is you've got this oblong hole here that rests along the clamp, and the clamp, when it's in place, this thing just goes kind of crooked. When it's straight, it slides. When it's crooked, it doesn't slide. So what I found happens with these is sometimes these edges just wear out. Now, with one set of clamps I had, or a section, not a section, I had a couple of early clamps in this series, and the hole was right in the middle. So in other words, they were symmetrical. So all I did in that case is just flip them over, and then I had another side that I could work with. Now, it might be possible to just flip these this way, just flip them this way. That might be possible. But I think while I have them out, I'm just going to take and recreate that burr by gently filing them. And I'm going to just, can you see my vise here? Yes, you can. This doesn't take long because you're not making a whole new surface. You're just going to go in here and make a burr. And square that edge. Oops, I bumped the camera. Sorry about that, guys. So that's what I've been doing. Like, remember, I could have just flipped it. Oops, sorry. I could have just flipped it. That works. But I think filing is probably the better way. Just fix them right away. And I'm going to put this back in. And the short side goes up. We're going to do that. And there, that's in. Now, it's also good to do that with these two as well. So I'm going to just take the spring out and take these out and just quickly reinforce the edge on them. Okay. If you don't have a file, just flip them. But I have a file, so I'm going to use it. I'm trying to hurry for the video, and hopefully I've filed them enough. So, okay, that looks good. There's fresh patch there. Yeah, that looks okay. So we're going to slide them together. Oops, and I keep kicking my camera mount here. Sorry about that. Another thing, I didn't do it here, but I think I'd recommend it. When you take this clamp apart, especially if you're going to flip them, make marks on them. Color one side with a marker or something so you know that they have already been flipped. Because if you take them apart, oh, I'm just going to flip them, then you just flip them back to the way they didn't work in the first place. So I'm not going to do these because I've filed them. And I'm just going to, I think it may work better if I pop the spring in first. And then the smaller part goes to the top and the bigger part to the bottom. So we're going to pop these in, and then we're going to compress the spring a little bit and slide them in. Now, it's helpful to have, and I had it here a minute ago, there's a little screwdriver somewhere here. Oh, well. That's what happens when you're shooting video. Everything's gone. But, oh, there it is. And just a little screwdriver to shuffle some things around a little bit to get things straight. Okay, so I think we're good. Now, there's one thing I have a bit of a dilemma with, and that's the whole idea of putting lubrication in here. Whereas putting a little bit of lubrication for the pivot for the lever here might be a good idea, I'm hesitant to put lubricant in this area here because part of the way this clamp works is on friction. And if I put WD-40 or a lithium grease on there, I lose that advantage. So I'm not going to. If you want to, you go right ahead and do it. Okay, now we're going to try to slip this guy back together, which is usually quite simple if you've done everything right. Yeah, this is a video. I should know better than to say that, done everything right. Sometimes I think I'm not half as incompetent as the video makes me look. Oh, the screwdriver, they got to be pushed down a little bit. There we go. It just takes a little bit of lining up to get everything in the right place, and then it pushes together. Okay, and then, oops, I'm sorry, you can't see me there. There, now it's good. Okay. I think I have a spring that isn't in the right place here. Let me just fiddle with this a little bit. Oops. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's fire this spring back in there. And you know what? When you get into these things, sometimes things just don't work out the way you should. And there's a little bit more tinkering and fussing and all that stuff. Well, I think I'm going to have to put it together and see. Let's put this cap on, but that's what I do. I file it a little bit or flip these this way, not this way. And whatever you can do to make it grab the bar better. Now, there are websites I looked at that recommend making, like, roughing the bar. And I would say that's a last resort because I unless you have a way of not going too far with it, they suggest a hacksaw. I personally, I don't think I do that. So anyway, let's put this back together, and then we'll see what we have. And I have to find that roll pin yet too, but that might happen off camera. And again, like with anything, when you take things apart, being as organized as you can. And I'm trying to speed this up for video's sake. Okay, put the cover on here. There we go. And now it's time to test. So, yep, we got it. This one works. And let's just put it on the edge here. And does it clamp properly and not creep? There we go. It works. Now, I need to be completely honest here. Sometimes you need to fiddle a little bit. Like I had to take this clamp apart again and play with it a little bit more. So, but those are the basics to make this all work. And sometimes, like they're a very, very cheap clamp. I don't know. But anyway, this one works, and my method worked. So that's what we're going to say for today. So I'm going to show you a little bit of what a Chicago screw is. And like I've already pointed out where they could be useful. So let's take a little bit of a break. We've done the clamp now. I'll show you my computer screen. Okay, I've made a couple of references to Chicago screws, and some of you may not be familiar with what they are. Basically, it's a screw or a fastener with a shaft. This inside is threaded, and there's a piece that goes into it. And what they look like when they're together is this. So there's no screw end sticking out. You've just got a flush edge end on both ends. And I think for those clamps, especially for holding the squeeze part, the handle in, would be great. And they may even work for if your pivot breaks off. You might have to grind that rest of the pivot off and then put this in. And the nice thing about this, in my opinion, they're smooth on both sides of the clamp, so you wouldn't have like a screw protruding or something like that. So anyway, I just thought I'd show you these because I wasn't sure if everybody knew what they were. Yeah, it looks like there's the sleeves and there's the threaded insides. So anyway, I think let's close this puppy off. Well, there it is. It works perfectly. And I have an idea for you that maybe I enclosed in the video a little bit about Chicago screws, and I'm thinking that like to hold the handle in, if you had trouble with that Chicago screw would be nice because it would be round on both sides. It wouldn't hurt you. Also, if your pivot has broken off, that might be a good way to fix that as well. So I'll show you. I showed you a little clip about that, and that's all there's to it. So yeah, this worked good. You can count on it when you're shooting a video that it won't go exactly like you planned, but I'm getting used to that. This is working really good now, and it's a clamp that my kids will be able to use in fall. So anyway, this weekend I'm going to a wood turning symposium. The Hub City Turners in Saskatoon are hosting a 2-day symposium, and I'm sure it's not too late to get involved. If you're seeing this today and you can be there at 9, be in Saskatoon at the SIAS building at 9 in the morning tomorrow, things should be good. So all you have to do is pay your $60 to get in. So it's a good deal. Anyway, so this is going to go out today. I've got some other things to do this afternoon yet, so a busy day. But anyway, with that in mind, please like, share, and subscribe, and have an awesome weekend. We'll talk to you on the next edition.